England face Wales in their crucial Rugby World Cup match at Twickenham. With me to preview the game is IB Times sports editor Nick Howson. Nick, we'll look at England first. They've really rung the changes ahead of this game, and most surprising of all, they've dropped fly half George Ford for Owen Farrell. Is this panicking or is this just pragmatism?
It's a really interesting one. Ford's been, say, the linchpin of that team for nigh on a year now, since he came in midway through the autumn series, and it's a real surprise to see such a crucial aspect of a team altered for the possibly the definitive match of Lancaster's reign as England coach. It's a really odd one. I think it's in some ways sets out how England are probably going to try and play this. Farrell is marginally the better kicker from the floor. So from that point of view, England are obviously looking to take advantage of as many penalties as they possibly can at the breakdown. So from that point of view, it sort of plays out how England are probably going to try and approach the game. You've got Sam Burgess in there, who's coming for Jonathan Joseph, which again, it's really unfortunate that the way that Lancaster selected the squad, England's best centre gets injured and suddenly they look really wafer thin on options, and Sam Burgess comes in. Again, he's got big game experience, but it's not big game rugby union experience, and we'll see how far his league, his fantastic reputation as a league player, gets him. Alongside Brad Barrett, who we know that doesn't miss a tackle, solid player, and it's the sort of player you really want in this game, but he's not going to break lines. How they get on against the likes of Jamie Roberts, Liam Williams, it's going to be a very interesting battle in that midfield. So yeah, it's a risky team as far as England is concerned. As I say, it could really define Lancaster's reign.
A lot of people would have been very excited about this clash a few months ago, but Wales have really been rocked by some injuries to their side. Has this ruined the contest slightly? I mean,
somewhat, yeah. I mean, let's not forget, and this is still England versus Wales. This is still an infamous rugby rivalry. It's been maybe slightly diluted by one or two injuries to Wales, but in some way maybe that's evened it up a little bit, because full-strength Wales could have been way too much for England, really, even at Twickenham. I think the concern, as far as I'm concerned, for Wales is not the quality of the players that have come in, the likes of Dan Biggar and players like that have come in front of one or two of the injury guys. It's the players. It's the form of the players that are currently in there. Alex Cuthbert's form is such that he only makes the bench on this occasion. How is George North going to get on in 80 minutes? He had fleeting glances of a rugby ball in the last 5 months after having one or two issues with concussion. He's really in no form, and yes, okay, this isn't going to be a game about running rugby, and it's not going to be an open match, so to speak. But North's finishing ability could well be the difference, and it's interesting that he comes into this game with almost no form at all. From a Wales point of view, obviously they've really packed the scrum. They're going to try and obviously use the set piece and expose England there, and they have looked exposed at times, particularly even against Fiji. So you don't write Wales up absolutely. They've got a team that can more than compete in this tournament.
And with all that in mind then, what kind of match do you see in store, and what's your final prediction for the game?
Well, I think that the two teams selected by both sides suggest that this is going to be a match, one really in two key areas, one at set piece, line out and scrum, again, both areas that England have really struggled in, and Wales could really look to take advantage there. And then at the breakdown, and this is potentially where England's selection really comes into the fore. Can the centres get some big hits in? Can Jamie Roberts be nullified? The experience of Jamie Roberts against the inferior experience, certainly, of Sam Burgess. And then really, how are the likes of Sam Warburton going to get on at the breakdown? And Dan Liddy, of course, who's also been selected. And then you've got Justin Tipuric on the bench as well for Wales. So that area is going to be really key. How can England, because really I think England nullifying Wales, it's going to be all about turnover ball, keeping phases alive. It's going to be a really test one. I'm just slanting towards England slightly. I think the home advantage thing has to be taken into account. And England got a relatively good record against Wales, beat them in the Six Nations in a very entertaining match. So I'm just going down the line of England at the moment, I think just because of Wales's best players aren't in the best of form.
Well, for all our coverage of the Rugby World Cup, go to our website, ibtimes.co.uk.